The sky is not merely dark, the sky is gone. Above the plains of Vigridr, the stars have been swallowed by smoke, and the only light comes from the burning wreckage of the World Tree. Standing in the black mud, Thor, the strongest of the Aesir, looks up. He does not see a monster, he sees a shifting living horizon. Jormungandr, the World Serpent, rises from the boiling sea, eclipsing the heavens. The air smells of ozone and ancient rotting kelp. Lightning arcs from Thor's hammer, screaming against the roar of the beast, but his hands are shaking, not from fear, but from the venom already misting the air. The question is no longer if the Thunder God can win. The question is whether he can swing his hammer hard enough to kill the apocalypse before the poison in his lungs drowns him. To understand the weight of this moment, we must look back before the fire. For centuries, Thor walked the realms as the undisputed guardian of order. He was the breaker of giants, the storm that kept the darkness at bay. Men worshipped him not for his wisdom, but for his arm, the simple, brutal guarantee that when monsters came, he would put them in the ground. Yet a shadow always trailed him. The Vulva, the seeress, had spoken the prophecy long ago, whispering it over the roots of Yggdrasil. The protector of Earth will strike the serpent, and the serpent will end him. It was a destiny that soured his greatest deeds. Thor had met the beast twice before. Once in the hall of Utgard-Loki, disguised as a cat he could not lift, a failure that gnawed at his pride. And once on the open sea, fishing with the giant Hymir, where he had stared into the serpent's pale, gold-slitted eyes. He had the hammer raised then, he had the monster on the line. But the line was cut, the chance lost, and the serpent sank back into the deep, waiting for the end of time. Now, time has run out. The Fimbulwinter has stripped the lands of life. Brothers have killed brothers for scraps of bread. The bonds of kinship have snapped, and the great wolf has swallowed the sun. On the field of Vigridr, the armies of the dead clash with the gods, but Thor sees none of them. He does not look for his father, Odin, who is already dying in the jaws of the wolf. He does not look for his brother, Loki, who steers the ship of nails against them. Thor's plan is devoid of cunning. He is not the god of tactics, he is the god of the hammer. His intention is absolute violence. He knows the venom of Jormungandr is the most potent substance in the 9 realms, a fluid that acts as liquid entropy, unraveling the very thread of life it touches. He knows that to get close enough to strike the skull, he must walk through a cloud of this death. There is a terrible friction in his heart, the desperate primal desire to live, warring against the cold iron certainty of his duty. He is the shield of Midgard. If he breaks, the world ends. He prepares with the silence of a man walking to the gallows. He tightens Megingjord, the belt of strength, pulling the leather so tight it bites into his waist, doubling his god force. He pulls on Jarngreipr, his iron gauntlets. They are old, scarred from 1,000 battles, stained with the blood of frost giants and the soot of thunder. They are the only things that allow him to grip Mjolnir when the lightning becomes too hot for flesh to hold. He stands apart from the other Aesir. This jewel belongs to him alone. He looks at the hammer, the short handle wrapped in leather, and whispers the only words that matter. Today, the circle breaks. The iron gauntlets creak as he grips the weapon. The sea recedes with a sucking, slurping sound. The water pulls back to reveal the ocean floor, a wet, grey wasteland of dead fish and slime. Then the water rises. The serpent comes. It does not slither. It flows like a landslide of scales, vast enough to encircle the world, heavy enough to crush mountains. Thor steps forward, leaving the line of the gods, committing his body to the storm. The first contact is not a blow, but a deluge. Jormungandr opens a maw wide enough to swallow a longship and exhales. It is not fire that comes out, but a torrent of black vapor and corrosive bile. The Aita. Thor swings Mjolnir, spinning it into a shield of lightning. The thunderclap shatters the sound barrier, blowing the black mist back for a heartbeat. But the serpent is relentless. It strikes with the speed of a viper, a mountain of muscles slamming into the earth. The impact throws Thor backward, tumbling him through the mud and shattered stone. He hits the ground, and the air is knocked from his chest. Action. Consequence. Action. Thor scrambles up, mud coating his red beard. The serpent lunges again. Thor leaps, the power of the belt surging through his legs. He lands on the creature's snout, a flea upon a dragon. He strikes, crack. The sound is like a glacier splitting. A scale the size of a shield shatters, spraying black blood that hisses where it touches the earth. Jormungandr roars, a sound that vibrates in the marrow of Thor's bones, and thrashes its head. Thor is flung into the air, crashing down into a pool of seawater and venom. The pain is immediate. The ichor burns through his tunic, blistering the skin beneath. It feels not like heat, but like absolute cold, the cold of the void. His plan to end this quickly unravels. The beast is too large, its hide too thick. He cannot fight this at a distance. He tries to summon the lightning, to call down the sky fire, but the sky is choked with ash. The thunder is weak, muffled by the sheer density of the serpent's malice. Thor's bravado begins to strip away. He is wet, he is poisoned, and he is small. For the first time in his immortal life, the physical world feels heavier than his strength can bear. He dodges a snapping jaw that shears a boulder in half. He rolls under the sweep of a tail that levels a hill. He is forced to adapt. He stops trying to overpower the beast and starts fighting to survive the next second. He wades through the muck, the iron gauntlets heavy as lead on his arms. The serpent coils, its body creating a wall of scales around him. He is inside the ring. He is alone with the monster. Then comes the revelation. Thor looks into the eyes of the beast. He sees no anger there. He sees only inevitability. The serpent is the physical manifestation of the boundary that held the world together. Now that boundary is collapsing inward, Thor realizes the venom burning his skin is not just poison. It is his own mortality. The realization changes the battle. This is not a duel for glory. The prophecy was never a warning to be avoided. It was a price tag. To save the earth, the Midgard he loves, he must accept the trade, his life, for the serpent's death. A strange clarity washes over him. He channels every spark of divinity left in his blood. He screams, a sound of pure, raw defiance that cuts through the noise of Ragnarok. He throws the hammer. The weapon flies true, a streak of white fire in the dark. It strikes the serpent's throat with the force of a falling star. The serpent stiffens. Then, with a groan like tectonic plates grinding to a halt, the great beast collapses. Jormungandr is dead. Silence rushes back in. Thor stands in the center of the carnage. He reaches out, and Mjolnir flies back to his hand, heavy and dull. The victory is won. He looks toward where the sun used to be. He takes a step. 1. He stumbles. The poison is in his blood. 2. He forces his leg forward. 3. He drops Mjolnir. The hammer hits the mud with a dull thud. 4. 5. He is staggering now. 6. 7. His knees buckle. 8. He stands one last time. He looks out at the chaos, and for a moment, he is the Lord of Storms again. Unbroken. 9. Thor takes the 9th step, and he falls. The greatest protector of mankind lies dead, not defeated by a stronger warrior, but consumed by the cost of his own victory. The lesson etched into the mud is grim. Thor's strength was not enough to save him. It was only enough to complete the task. History remembers him for the thunder, but in the trial of the World Serpent, he learned that the only true victory over death is to spend your life well in the spending of it. The storm has passed, but the story continues. Walk with us through the old stories. Subscribe to Saga Weaver, where ancient warriors face impossible choices.